Vengo Los Angeles. Mi nombre Armen Orujyan. J is not silent. So we are here today. We're going to be speaking about entrepreneurship and ICT. Technology. What's technology? Technology is all about excellence, excelling, and most importantly also having fun. So we're going to first speak of what are the first steps that inseminate entrepreneurship. What is it that really helps you find something that you would want to do and make a living out of it? So in entrepreneurship, the biggest element that you need to look for is a problem. Who has a problem in the audience? Anyone has a problem? In anything? At home, your refrigerator is not cool enough? Anything? See, okay, so a lot of you have problems. So problem is part of the solution. You need to identify a problem for you to then identify what kind of a solution you can bring. And that generates opportunity. Now, problems are good, but how it is perceived in the technology is great, but it's also failure. Oh, something happened. Ooh. All right, so when we have problems, we get all confused, especially in the Western world. If it rains, and those of you, from a sunny place like Mexico, you'll understand when it rains, everyone starts finding ways, okay, so I don't know how to drive on the street all of a sudden, because you're not used to driving in the rain. So when we look at problems, we get confused. And more so, some of us even look at this, all right, this is not, some of it, look at problem as the end of the world. But actually, problems, and especially these types of problems that are going to help you identify for some kind of a solution, are good for you. There's some people who look at it and say, we gotta do something about this, and say, hey, let's turn a problem into some kind of a harmony. So looking at a problem and looking at it and finding a solution is very important, but it's only a halfway to success. For success, you need to do one very important thing. When you have a problem, you've identified the solution. It's great, but now you actually need to execute. You actually need to do something about it. So one part is identifying what the problem is, you're halfway there. The second part is for you to actually find ways to execute it. So successful execution has been something that the world has been looking through for eternity. Even ancient Greeks, they were enamored by execution for entrepreneurs. You can find this in the writings from 400 BC by Xenophon. And entrepreneurs in ancient Greece. One element has remained true, is we look at it and we say, you know what? Something about an entrepreneur is different. And what's different, we say, is that you're born with that quality. How many of you were born with the quality of entrepreneur? I wasn't, I don't know. Anyone in the audience was born with that? So, when you look at the mainstream discussions about entrepreneurship, it seems like entrepreneurs are genetically privileged species. Well, some of them may be, but in more cases it's not. Entrepreneurship is about mostly evolution rather than revolution. Revolution makes you a leap. Evolution gets you the steps to go forward. So you can see this from all the invention and innovation by humans throughout history. What we see one common element in all of this is the following. Whether you're building an application or where you're going to be starting a bakery, you need 4 elements. It doesn't matter what you do, you're going to need them. It's going to be knowledge. You're going to need knowledge or guidance on how to do things. You're going to need a team to do it with, a network. You're going to need money, but more importantly, can you guess what you need? Is yourself. You need to get it done. So, working with thousands of entrepreneurs from over 80 countries in the last 10 years, we learned a few things when it comes to entrepreneurs. These four elements, whether intuitively or by design, every entrepreneur at any given time goes to acquire. And those are intellectual capacity, and that's network capacity, and we'll go into each one of them briefly, financial capacity, and again, the important one, core capacity. So, what is it about these capacities that is interesting? When it comes to intellectual capacity, what is it that you identify? Well, intellectual capacity helps you essentially ability for you to do it. And it's very important for you to be able to do it, right? But also for you to know what you're doing and to do it competitively. Doing it competitively is for you to really understand what you're doing. And now, when you identified the problem, you know what the solution is, now you're going into an execution, it's very important for you to also know how you're going to do it. Because if you don't know how to do it, you'll end up a wheel that looks like that. And you don't want that. So when you don't know what you're doing, you're looking for someone who can actually come and support. So you would need to generate access to build a team. And this access to people is one of the key elements. You know, there is 7 billion people on the planet, yet having access to them is a very different than knowing people. So having access to these people is very important in entrepreneurial endeavor. Also having access to customers. If you build something and you can't sell it, if you have a bakery and you don't have customers, no one's coming to buy your the goodies that you're baking, it's as good as not having one. And also having access to most important skills that you're going to need immediately or you're going to need with time. So if you don't know what to do well or you don't have access, the third thing that comes out is you have the money to do it. And you need the finances here for you to be able to build a team, for you to build a team with competitive salaries, for you to cover the costs when it comes to experimentation of what you're doing and the entire development process. So the last thing that I want to talk to you about when it comes to these 4 pillars, this is very elusive. We all know this, but we really never realize. It's good when you figure out what you're going to do. It's very important. So we know what we're going to do and we figure this out. But now the question is whether you're actually going to get up in the morning and get it done. And this is a quality that has been really elusive for everyone, including all the scientists that are trying to figure out what the entrepreneurship is all about. But there is really a basic formula behind it. Nobody wants to get up 4 a.m. in the morning to do anything, really. It's too early to do anything. But I'll tell you, if you had an option to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and get a plane and to fly to Paris for a morning fondue, most of you will be up at 4 o'clock, driving, running, getting to that plane for you to do that. I say most of you, not all of you, because flying to Paris, let's say, to get the morning fondue is not important for everyone. It may be interesting and very important to some of you. So for those of you that's important, you'll do it. For those of who are not interested in that, it's still a questionable. For them, the value between 4 to 8 sleep time is more important than flying to Paris, than taking a private jet and having a nice meal on Champs-Élysées. So what does the technology, what type of a role technology plays in all of this? Well, technology is ICT and broadband helps you to really create this access to all sorts of resources. You know, before ICT, when we were looking to generate, let's say, knowledge, even about entrepreneurship and whatnot, we will just go to regular universities or find experts, which is, sometimes it's costly, sometimes you just don't know right people. But now, you have all these resources for open educational resources. I'm sure some of you know what Coursera is, Khan Academy, Udacity, free courses. I've taken a course myself once, just to test it. A couple of months ago, I took a course, and I've asked some of my colleagues to take a course too, just to have a feel for what it is. We took a gamification class on Coursera. It was taught by a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. It was completely free for about 8 weeks. And the best part of this, there was 91,000 other people who took this class. 91,000. Only about 8,000 people graduated. So it's a small number. But when was the last time any classroom graduated 8,100 people? That is a lot of people getting education free of charge on your own time, and peers are grading you. And you do this in 6 weeks and 8,100 people. So technology really breaks boundaries, that boundaries were enacted artificially or purposefully. And when it's not about this, when knowledge you've acquired, now you need to build your network. In the past, you would need to rely on yourself, on your neighbor, on your family members, and your countrymen, essentially. But today, the world is different. You have mega social networks, like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, that you can connect with essentially anyone and anywhere else in the world. This was not part of the equation for entrepreneurs in the past. Today it is. So utilizing social media is another excellent way for us to get to the resources that we need when it comes to entrepreneurship. I'm sure some of you who wanted to start a business or have started a business, the dollar signs or pesos, it doesn't matter what it is, you know, they just seem to disappear right when you need them. And again, when we look at how traditionally this has been done, it's you either have the money, your family has the money, the bank is not going to give you money. There was another piece that was really good I didn't include it here. Going to get a loan, and loan officer will give you $1. And it says because it's a small business that you're starting, so $1 should be enough. Well, today it's not the same world. Yesterday I was reading, LA Times had an article about a new film production group in Los Angeles, and they wanted to produce a film. They needed to raise money. Well, they went to crowdfunding. Anyone knows Kickstarter? Kickstarter? All right, so some of you know what the Kickstarter is. It's a crowdfunding environment where you can go and people like yourself will actually contribute to your work. You don't need to go to any banking. You just need to go and explain, and if something that resonates with people, they will contribute to what you're doing. So get this. They're going to produce a film in 10 hours. 10 hours. They've raised $2 million from 30,000 of their fans. 10 hours. And that's impressive. So that's technology for you. Now, the question is, what now? Having a wheel separate, having an engine separate, and having a steering wheel separate is not a solution for a transportation. It's just pieces. When it comes to resources, having knowledge separate, having network separate, funding separate, and things that activate your core capacity is really not a solution. So what you need is a holistic environment. And there's some movement in that. I myself am building a startup, actually, that is building a holistic environment, a holistic ecosystem for entrepreneurs that is going to give you all of those resources that I was speaking about. You'll be able to crowdfund, you'll be able to network, you'll be able to build knowledge, build teams and whatnot. So it brings open educational resources, it brings social media and e-commerce all in one area. And I want to show you a very brief animation. We're building this in completely 3D, trying to make it as gamified and interesting as possible to people. So it's just a short 10-second piece. So I want to end by saying opportunities are all around you, opportunities are here, but more importantly, opportunities are within you. No one is going to do it unless you get up to do it. If you have an idea, don't wait, don't doubt yourself. Doubt is the pessimism, get it done, get the optimism. Thank you very much, muchas gracias, and viva Mexico.